Page 512, number 3, says for each graph f of x and g of x, determine the equation of the graph f plus g and f minus g, and determine the domain and range. Okay, so there's two strategies we can use, and we're going to use both of them. One is to combine the function and see what the function looks like, if it's a familiar function or not. And the other strategy is to just use a table of values, get coordinates, and plug in coordinates to be able to see the graph. So I'm going to start with the combining the functions with addition. So I have x squared minus 3, and then I'm going to add it to negative 2x plus 3. Well, I'm going to end up with x squared minus 2x, and then the plus 3 minus 3 cancels out. So in this case, I know this is a parabola. Okay, it's got zeros at 0 and 2, and it's got a vertex at positive 1 using VAT's formula. Now, we could have done this as well using a table of values by just taking a look at some coordinates. So at x equals negative 2, so if I take a look at negative 2, I have positive 1 and positive 7. So that's going to give me a coordinate at positive 8. When I look at x equals 0, negative 2, negative 3, positive 3 is going to give me a y coordinate of 0. At x equals 1, I have negative 2 here, positive 1 here. So that's going to, if I add those together, I end up with negative 1. And at 2, I get negative 1, positive 1. So that's going to give me a y coordinate of 0. Okay, so this is what I kind of expected, is that this is going to form a parabola. Okay, negative 1, positive 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, and then negative 2, positive 8 is going to be about here. And we can see that this is a vertex, and so it's going to come through here like this, and then come out maybe something like that. Okay, so this is our parabola. We can, again, recognize this from when we combine the functions like that, or we can also do this by combining y coordinates to get new y coordinates. In terms of the domain and range, my domain of my original function was all real numbers. The domain of the linear function is all real numbers, so we should expect the domain of our combined function to be all real numbers. The range of this combined function is going to be based on the vertex, so the range, and the range is harder to do, but the range in this case is y is greater than or equal to negative 1, based on being able to locate the vertex. Okay, so to do this, we need to recognize that it's a parabola and know where the vertex of the parabola is. In terms of the subtraction, when I subtract these functions, I'm going to end up with f minus g, so I'm going to end up with x squared plus 2x minus 6. Okay, so this again is a parabola. It has a vertex at negative 1. Okay, using VATs again, I can get a vertex at negative 1. So plotting some coordinates here, I probably should stick in a y coordinate of negative 1 in here, because that is a vertex. Okay, my vertex is going to be at negative 1, and when I plug in the values for negative 1, I have negative 2, positive 5. So that's going to give me a vertex value of, it looks like it's plus 3. Okay, and maybe I'll do this in a different color. I'm going to do this in blue. This is for the minus. Okay, so negative 1, positive 3 is going to give me my vertex. Okay, I'm going to plug in a few more points. Negative 2. At negative 2, I get 1 and 7. So 1 minus 7. 1 minus 7 is going to give me negative 6. Okay, and I think I may have added the coordinates, so I'm going to do negative 1 again. Negative 1 was 2 minus 5, so that's going to be negative 7. Okay, so that's good. That would have been at negative 7. At x equals 0, we have negative 3 minus positive 3, which is negative 6. So I'm going to get negative 6 here. And again, we can start plugging in, we can start showing some of these coordinates here. So negative 7, negative 6, negative 6. And again, I'll just put in one more point here. At positive 1, the f of x is negative 2 plus 1. That's going to be negative 1. So we're going to have a coordinate here. And because I know it's a parabola, I can show the symmetry here like this. Okay, so there's my f minus g function. Okay, so the domain of this function, because of the combining those two original domains, I'm going to have x is all real numbers. The range of this is going to be based on the vertex. And again, I need to know this function to know where the vertex is. And the vertex is going to be based on the y value of that position. So it's negative 7. So y is greater than or equal to negative 7 gives me the range of that function. And again, the range I can only determine because I know what the function looks like. Okay, I knew what this function looks like based on the fact that I can recognize it's a parabola.